before we get into these losers finals, remember the winner of this goes on to play Lyle Jeffs in the grand finals. Let's just take one last look at these teams. This is Arroh's, again, very, very unique team. He's got Registeel, Guzzlord, Quagsire, and Shadow Typhlosion, all Pokemon that we don't see incredibly often, especially that Registeel, which he's been relying a lot on today in day 2. And then, of course, the Galarian Moltres, which I believe NiteTimeClasher is also rocking.
Yeah, absolutely. And running that very interesting Frenzy Plant Leaf Tornado combo there on the Superior. Moving over to NiteTimeClasher's team, we've seen a lot of the Ariados from him running that Poison Sting Trailblaze Lunge combination. But like you mentioned, Double Dark, Malamar with the Psywave Superpower Foul Play, and Galarian Moltres running that deadly combo of that Brave Bird Ancient Power. Very, very interested to see how he's going to be able to round out his team with his Azumarill, Shadow Marowak, and his Toxapex as well.
Well, he's been relying a lot on the Shadow Marowak. I believe that was your pick of the day for Lyle, actually, Wholesome, but it's doing pretty well for NiteTimeClasher here. I mean, if you look at Arrow's team, it has a good play against pretty much everything except, I guess, Superior and Galarian Moltres, which it still can hit back with that Rock Slide.
Look, I warned these trainers to get ready. I don't think they were ready for the Shadow Kanto Marowak. And, you know, it's a Pokemon that not a lot of trainers actually have access to. It's one that, you know, you can't trade, for instance. So it's not something that you can just immediately say, hey, can you trade that extra one that you have to me? It's something that you've actually probably had to be playing the game for a decent amount of time and hold on to in order to bring to today's tournament.
All right, well, neither of these trainers has won a tournament before on U.S. soil, so this is their chance to do it. I think we're getting into this game 1, Wholesome.
All right, this is Winner Go Home. This is Losers Finals, Arroh versus NiteTimeClasher. We have the Malamar into the Registeel. Registeel is able to tank one of these super effective superpowers, but NiteTimeClasher does have the luxury of being able to chip and dip.
Can chip and dip, but it looks like he's farming up a little bit of extra energy. Actually goes for the foul play here. Superpower wouldn't take it out, so I think Arroh is just going to let this go for now. Maybe save his shields for his glassy or Pokemon in the back. Foul play connects, but Registeel still over 50% health.
Yeah, despite the dark typing, with that psychic subtyping, Malamar is easily able to hang on versus one Focus Blast. Zap Cannon is a very hard-hitting attack, though. Only a 33% chance at this debuff now, and no debuff this time. After this foul play and NiteTimeClasher investing that Protect Shield, probably has this Registeel close to superpower range. Was that a charged attack priority, Soph?
Looks to me like Arroh did hit that Focus Blast, but we'll have to see. Looks like NiteTimeClasher is pretty much at double superpower here. Shields does come up for Arroh, and it looks like the Focus Blast is firing, so I think NiteTimeClasher is going to have to shield if he wants to get off that second superpower. Actually, he might live.
Yeah.
We'll never find out.
Wants to use the Protect Shield either way. There's not really a Pokemon that, assuming that he did feign, would be able to farm down. This is going to bring in the Galarian Moltres now, which is met by the Toxapex. Toxapex obviously with a big bulk advantage as well, but Arroh actually going to be fishing for a little bit of a bait here. No shields at this point, but does not want to debuff himself by going for that Brave Bird.
Yeah, I don't think Brave Bird quite takes it out from here, so it makes sense that he doesn't want to debuff himself quite yet. He wants to be able to hang on through a couple more of these poison jabs. This is actually a brine bait coming through from NiteTimeClasher and an instant no shield by Arroh. I don't even know if Sludge Wave takes it out from here, but I think with this bait, I think Arrow's probably going to be able to make a Brave Bird.
Yeah, no problem going to be able to make this Brave Bird. Can probably overfarm a little bit as well, and you're still healthy enough that, you know, really, realistically, I don't think anything is just going to be immediately able to fast attack down. Maybe that Ariados, but we'll have to see what NiteTimeClasher wants to do.
Yeah, he still has some energy banked on the Malamar, but he does bring in the Ariados, showing his third Pokemon here, and he probably wants to be able to farm down before the Ancient Power actually does get it.
That's devastating.
So that's actually, I think, 6 or 7 Poison Stings that he just got. Anyways, Arroh bringing Registeel to all the energy, but a quick swap into the Malamar.
Trying to desperately get to double superpower here. NiteTimeClasher has him stored. Now has 2 stored. Now the superpower will be enough to knock out, I believe. It might leave it just with a sliver of HP. This is non-same type attack bonus, but down goes the Registeel. Arrow putting it all on the Shadow Quagsire. NiteTimeClasher is locked in with this debuff both to his attack and his defense, but he's close to 2 charge attacks.
Quagsire does still have a shield, and remember that NiteTimeClasher still has a little bit over a Trailblaze left on the Ariados, so Arrow knows that he can't shield anything from this Malamar. He needs to have enough time to get to a couple of charge attacks here, Aqua Tail to take out the Malamar, and then probably a Stonish to take out the Ariados.
Yeah, I think that could be a costly mistake here, letting him reach that foul play. Obviously needed to get to a lot of energy. Has the Stone Edge ready to go. Maybe an Aqua Tail would have been enough to knock out. You do resist these Poison Stings. I think you can probably withstand 2 or 3 Poison Stings, but you desperately need to reach a charge attack before NiteTimeClasher is able to get to 2 charge attacks. Will you be able to get to the Stone Edge? Absolutely not. NiteTimeClasher taking game number 1 in this best of 5 series.
Yeah, I think I saw them say good game before the charge attack landed at the end there. And, you know, NiteTimeClasher is up 1-0. He has a ton of momentum. Remember, he came in on the loser's side of the bracket in this incredibly stacked top 16. And I have to say, he's playing better than maybe I've ever seen him play. Super clean, great counting, great energy management in every game.
On paper, Registeel looks really challenging for NiteTimeClasher's team, but I like the way that NiteTimeClasher was using his shields and finding other ways to get energy outside of that Registeel matchup, so that was great. We did see the Brave Bird, but I think what was the key moment is the one we just missed right there, was that fast attack down. The Ariados is farming down the Galarian Moltres there with, I think, 6 Poison Stings to put him in a position where you have to save that Protect Shield as your Shadow Quagsire as Arroh.
Exactly. I think that, I mean, I don't think NiteTimeClasher knew that there was a Shadow Quagsire in the back, but the energy from Ariados goes pretty much everywhere except for, I think, the Registeel, and maybe that Typhlosion is also going to be walling the Ariados.
I think this Ariados is the final Ariados in the tournament. I think there's only just this one here, but I've been very impressed with his play here in Day 2, particularly with NiteTimeClasher. All right, Arroh needs to go ahead and figure out a way to come back here. It's currently 1-0 NiteTimeClasher versus Arroh. We're going to be having Water versus Fire. We saw the Typhlosion up against the Azumarill. Arroh going to be switching in the Registeel. It is met by the Malamar from NiteTimeClasher.
All right, well, this game might come down to who can maintain switch advantage here. Looks like NiteTimeClasher, does throw the foul play here again. Doesn't want to debuff himself straight away. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit questionable whether he can hang on through the Registeel's charge attacks. Zap Cannon coming through here. Again, this is, I believe, a 33% chance to drop the attack of the Malamar. Let's see if he gets it. Okay, here comes the Zap Cannon. Does a significant chunk of damage. No debuff. I believe that you should be able to get to a superpower before Registeel is able to get to its next charge attack. You won't be able to get to 2, though. NiteTimeClasher this time not throwing on charge attack priority. Wants to throw it a little bit earlier. Arroh wanting to get switch advantage desperately uses this Protect Shield. Yeah, nice counting from NiteTimeClasher there. Oh, actually threw just before the Registeel got to move. And Arrow's like staring down NiteTimeClasher a little bit, throwing this Focus Blast at a, oh my goodness, very low health Malamar that NiteTimeClasher actually shields.
Okay. Can NiteTimeClasher's Malamar get to 2 superpowers? We're not going to find out. A quick swap by Arroh bringing in the Galarian Moltres. This is going to draw out the Azumarill from NiteTimeClasher. A positive matchup for NiteTimeClasher, able to hit super effective with both of its charge attacks. Needs to watch out for Brave Birds. Arroh actually going for this Ancient Power here, maybe fishing for a boost.
Oh, and that's actually a really nice bait by Arroh there. Didn't get the boost, but did get the shield. Play rough coming through here from NiteTimeClasher. And so they go unshielded. I think Galarian Moltres might be able to hang on, but this Azumarill has a lot of work to do. Remember, there's a Typhlosion in the back, and now that the Azumarill doesn't have shields, you might have to start watching out for those Thunder Punches.
A nice head start on energy for this Azumarill, but I think all this energy is just going to get dumped into the Registeel, and then you're going to try and set up the game where you can sweep with the Typhlosion. Realistically, that biggest counter to that Typhlosion was probably the bubble fast attack damage coming from NiteTimeClasher's Azumarill. But keep an eye on Switch Claw. Can you get out? No, Arrow reaches the Zap Cannon just before Azumarill is able to get out of this matchup.
Oh my goodness, and Arrow still has the full health Typhlosion in the back. NiteTimeClasher running out of health on his Malamar, and all he has left is that Ariados, which again takes super effective damage from Incinerate and obviously walled with its charge attacks. I think NiteTimeClasher might be trying to save his energy. He does, but he insta-swaps the Ariados into the Typhlosion.
List of things you don't want to swap into a Typhlosion. Exhibit A, the Ariados. That is a ton of damage that you've already taken. This is a huge Protect Shield that Arrow is using here. A lunge, while it's certainly going to be resistant. Oh, and actually hangs on with 1 HP. Can you get to one more move? No. Okay, now this Typhlosion is absolutely loaded on energy. I think you have 2 charge attacks stored, and there's no Protect Shields remaining. Can you just throw double Thunder Punch?
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. No Protect Shields, no opportunities for catches. I mean, there's 2 very low health Pokemon on NiteTimeClasher that both lose charge attack priority, so there's really no harm in Arrow just spamming off these attacks. He even has the Blast Burn loaded, but doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's the thing that you have to keep in mind as Arrow. Okay, I'm using that Protect Shield on the lunge. I know the Azumarill has a charge attack. I'm probably going to be low enough that a Play Rough will be very close to knocking out, so I absolutely need to come out of this matchup with tons of energy, and I think he had 100 energy coming out of that matchup. That was a tough situation for NiteTimeClasher. You don't want to have your Ariados lined up versus that Shadow Typhlosion, but we did see NiteTimeClasher bring in his Azumarill in that middle matchup there, which meant that it was never going to get realigned versus that Typhlosion.
All right, well, Arrow does tie up the series 1-1 there, and as a reminder, this is actually a best of 5, so whoever wins the next game doesn't necessarily win the series. It's going to be the first of 3 points who's going to get to move on to those grand finals.
Okay, well, we saw the Azumarill being brought by NiteTimeClasher this time. We've seen plenty of superior play from Arrow, and despite not having any coverage moves, actually has access to that Leaf Tornado as well, which can introduce a different element to a lot of these games. Even if you're unable to hit for super effective or even neutral, you can debuff your opponent, which can be absolutely devastating in certain matchups. That said, we did see Arrow with some great over farming, able to get to 100 energy, unleashing that Thunder Punch into the Malamar with another Thunder Punch ready to go to knock out the Azumarill and tie up the series 1-1.
Yeah, I think the key moment was the middle game when Arrow brought in the Registeel. NiteTimeClasher's best answer at that point was just the Malamar, so you have to wonder, is he going to adjust and try to bring the Marowak, which I think is going to be his best answer to the Registeel?
I think between the 3 teams that we have remaining in this tournament, are there any fighting types at all?
Nope.
I don't think so. So when that Registeel is brought, there's no real direct answer unless you have a ground type typically. Yes, there is some fire coverage, maybe with Diggersby, but you're going to be throwing Scorching Sands there pretty much every time. Getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but Registeel is a very interesting pick that Arroh seems to be consistently bringing here in the late stages of this tournament.
All right, well, another fantastic lead for NiteTimeClasher. Let's see if he can hold on to this one. It's Galarian Moltres into Superior. Again, Arrow with the Registeel safe swap, but this time, NiteTimeClasher with the adjustment actually has the punish, and it's that Shadow Marowak.
A huge punish because you're able to get to this Bone Club before Registeel's even able to reach a Focus Blast. You withstand one of these Focus Blasts as well, so you can simply no-shield and then farm all the way down to the ground. This is a great position for NiteTimeClasher. Yes, you're not going to be doing very much with this Marowak up against the Superior, but you will get some nice chip damage with the Rock Slide as well, so all things going the way of NiteTimeClasher currently.
Yeah, not going to be able to do much, but I don't think that's a big deal. Yes, the Superior is going to come in and farm you down, but this Marowak has one job to do, and it's to take out that Registeel, and that job has been completed. So it's looking very, very good for NiteTimeClasher. Now, the Superior also, by the way, is absolutely trapped between the Galarian Moltres and the Ariados.
But the thing we have to keep in mind is, okay, what was the play that Arrow's trying to architect there? He's probably trying to draw out that Marowak, which may free up his Shadow-type Flosion hanging around in the back. It's going to do very nicely versus the Ariados, and now NiteTimeClasher cannot swap. I think you just have to stay in this matchup. But the one thing that you have going for you as NiteTimeClasher is this Galarian Moltres has a significant bulk advantage compared to the Shadow-type Flosion, so these Sucker Punches are adding up a little bit quicker than the Incinerates.
Yeah, these Thunder Punches are going to come through very, very quickly. I mean, you can start pulling some shields if you want, but I think NiteTimeClasher is actually just going for the full fast attack down. Another Thunder Punch coming through from Arrow, but I don't think he has time to get to another.
You don't want to take a single Incinerate on your Ariados, so you just go simply for two Protect Shields and a full farm down. You'll come out with this Ancient Power. You have a Brave Bird stored ready to go if you really want to be a little cheeky here. A Leaf Tornado is stored, but this is all resisted damage here. Not only is this resisted by the Galarian Moltres, you have a Pokemon that double resists all grass charge and fast attacks as well. So this is a impossible battle for Arrow, and the ABA strategy for NiteTimeClasher, ABA strong versus Superior, paid off so well here in Game 3.
Absolutely, and oh, actually, it looks like NiteTimeClasher is trying to get out into the Ariados, and I think Arrow is going to be able to see the third Pokemon here. So NiteTimeClasher not going to be able to keep these strategies to himself quite in this match, but he definitely has this game here, and he's going to be able to take the lead here 2-1.
That's the luxury. So you have a great matchup in the lead matchup there. Galarian Moltres, a flying type, versus a mono grass type that only has mono grass type moves. But then when you bring in that Typhlosion and you're thinking, okay, well, what's in the back? Maybe I can hard beat it. Well, yeah, you do. But NiteTimeClasher doesn't have to swap out of that Galarian Moltres. Has a little bit of an energy advantage and has a significant bulk advantage. Where realistically, the Ariados is what you wanted to line up with the Superior in the first place.
All right, well, we're already a couple of games into this series. We're thinking about maybe some key Pokemon from both sides. For Arrow, it feels like Registeel was really key for him in those first couple of games, maybe a little bit disappointing in game number 3. As for NiteTimeClasher, I think he's going to be sticking with that Galarian Moltres, right? It has a lot of play into Arrow's team. Actually, there's pretty much no counters for it that I see on Arrow's team, maybe except for that Guzzlord.
Look, so I think that NiteTimeClasher, after bringing that Azumarill, Arrow's like, okay, I got to bring this Grass-type Pokemon. NiteTimeClasher 5-heading that and say, I'm going to bring ABA Strong versus that counter to my Azumarill, and I'm going to be bringing the best possible answer to your Registeel save swap, which is that Shadow Kanto Marowak. He was 20 steps ahead of Arrow in that game number 3.
That's right. Brought not just one, but 2 counters to the Superior. Although I think we're going to be expecting the Galarian Moltres. He was really able to trap that Superior by bringing 2 counters to it.
Okay. Well, I see that these trainers are getting locked in here. I really like the Ariados that we've been seeing from NiteTimeClasher. I loved seeing that Shadow Kanto Marowak as a response to the Registeel. Does that mean that maybe Arrow finally puts Registeel on the bench? It's such an interesting Pokemon because Arrow always tells me, well, it wins zeros versus everything. Okay, well, there are other matchups as well, Arrow, the 1s and the 2s, where it really starts to struggle just due to its pacing, and I think that's one of the reasons a lot of trainers have dropped it. But if you can get it in those shields down scenarios, maybe it could be a really good closer for Arrow.
I think Typhlosion could also be a really good closer, and again, something that kind of struggles in the 2-shield situation, just like Registeel if there's fast attack pressure on the other side. But looks like we're getting into game number 4. This could be decisive, but Arrow's got the advantageous lead here. He's got Superior into Azumarill.
Yeah, Arrow running back those 2 Pokemon with the Superior and the Registeel, but this time actually brings the Guzzlord as well, which will have some nice play versus everything except for that Azumarill. Very happy to have that Superior lined up versus it. We got to see a lot of this Registeel versus the Ariados matchup matchup in the Rise versus Arroh matches, and now we're going to be seeing it again here. One Zap Cannon is not enough to knock out, but NiteTimeClasher immediately just going for those Trailblazes.
Does shield at the first Zap Cannon, so I have to imagine he's maybe going to plan to lunge eventually, but yeah, maybe at the beginning you just want to start increasing your attack. Does go for the Trailblaze straight away, and after actually one of these charge attacks, the switch clocks are going to come up, so not sure if we're going to see anyone switch out at this point, but it looks to me, at least from watching Rise versus Arroh, that Ariados can 2-shield through Registeel if it wants to.
Look, this Guzzlord does have play versus the Malamar and versus the Ariados, but when shields go down, it gets really, really risky. So if Arroh starts investing some of these Protect Shields, that Guzzlord could become a little bit of a liability, but NiteTimeClasher is the one using the Protect Shields currently.
Yeah, Zap Cannon coming through here. This isn't going to be enough to take out the Ariados, but NiteTimeClasher still wants to shield it up. He knows maybe just how important this Ariados and its energy are, especially when you look at Arrow's team. If there's no Typhlosion coming to meet you, then this Ariados is really, really good against Arrow's entire line.
You're now in a position where one Zap Cannon isn't going to knock out. You're doing, despite double resisted Poison Stings, they are significantly boosted here, and I think that you're going to be able to get to 2 charge attacks after this next Zap Cannon, which again, you survive, so realistically, Arroh is going to have to be put in a very difficult situation here. Yes, this Ariados is going to be relatively low HP, but this energy has so many destinations still.
Exactly. I'm not expecting Arroh to shield at this Registeel, expecting NiteTimeClasher to maybe farm up to 100 or just 2 charge attacks, and then you should be able to get the shield back on whatever comes in, because if you look at the Superior and the Guzzlord from Arroh, I mean, how boosted is this super effective lunge going to be?
Yeah, you just throw lunge no matter what here. The Trailblaze isn't really going to do anything for you,
Whoa!
but no, through a fast attack instead. None of that energy gets utilized whatsoever. Okay.
Oh, that could be huge.
You do have the good alignment now with your Azumarill against the Guzzlord. That's great, but now you have to have a matchup where you didn't get that final Protect Shield. You're down a Protect Shield into this Superior as Malamar.
It was looking really, really comfortable for NiteTimeClasher, but now it's going to be looking a little scary.
And the debuff!
Oh my goodness, and the Malamar's attack is double dropped as well, and Arrow still has a shield, so it's looking like actually now Superior might be able to put in some work in the back. Here comes the Superior, and what is that, fist pump number 21 now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're well into the 20s at this point, so I think that maybe NiteTimeClasher was expecting the Superior to come back in for some reason, and a 2-turn fast attack would have been able to easily hang on versus one of those Vine Whips. But when you have a 3-turn fast attack versus the 2-turn fast attack, if you throw that 2-turn fast attack, the damage from the 3-turn will register right as you're going to be hitting that charge attack. So NiteTimeClasher, a little bit of a miscue there, and I don't know that he has a way to come back from this.
I don't think he does. I mean, Frenzy Plant coming through here. Superior still has a shield, so even if you're able to reach Ice Beam, you just get outpaced by the Superior. So, yeah, a little bit of a miscue in the mid-game. I mean, lost basically a super effective, incredibly boosted lunge, which could have been crucial, I think.
It would have gotten a shield no matter what. I mean, maybe Arrow could have tried to make a call thinking that maybe it's going to be a Trailblaze, but there's no reason not to throw that lunge there. It would have been close to one-hit KOing either of those Pokemon the way that he was boosted at that point. But that said, Arrow just able to Dragon Tail down, didn't have to use the shield, and because he didn't have to use the shield, Superior able to sweep that matchup, didn't even need to use Guzzlord outside of that one Dragon Tail.
Yeah, I think that Poison Sting was a little bit of a mistake. I mean, I'm wondering if potentially he wasn't sure if the Quagsire was going to come in which case he would want to throw the Trailblaze, but I mean, even like a super boosted lunge like that would have done a ton of damage to the Quagsire. Maybe you don't even tap the Poison Sting at all there if you're worried about that.
You have to pick yourself up now as NiteTimeClasher, because I think that was NiteTimeClasher's game to lose, and yeah, I think that could have been a 3-1 series. Now it's a 2-2 tied series. You still have an opportunity as NiteTimeClasher to lock this in. You just need to win one game. But at this stage, you can't make any mistakes like that.
Yeah, it's 2-2 now, like you said. So I mean, winner goes on to grand finals and they get a completely fresh series against Lyle Jeffs. And the loser, I mean, this is going to be the end of their tournament. They would just finish in 3rd place.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, very good still.
Mistakes earlier in the tournament, maybe you can come back from. Mistakes at this stage, they can be absolutely just devastating to you. And thankfully for NiteTimeClasher, he was ahead 2-1, so he still has one more opportunity. But now we are in our best of 5 win or go home game. NiteTimeClasher really needs to get things figured out. I like the way that he played that game. The Ariados into the Registeel, it worked out for him. In fact, he had another charge attack coming out of that matchup, so that even if Arrow shielded, he had one ready to go. Let's see how Arrow responds here in game number 5.
Oh my goodness, and Arrow finally getting a good lead. This time it's his own Galarian Moltres against that Malamar from NiteTimeClasher. Quick swap into the Ariados, and he's able to get off this lunge before anything happens on Arrow's side.
It's a little bit awkward for Arrow here because he doesn't have a great direct response. That Typhlosion is not on his team of 3, so he's not able to bring it in. He gets him a little bit of chip damage, and he's done some nice sucker punch damage to that Ariados, he can now bring in the Registeel, and even after an attack debuff, Zap Cannon's going to be very close to knocking out here, especially as these lock-ons continue to add up.
I like the recognition from Arroh that this is a different situation from before, right? Now the Ariados, first of all, it's energy dry because it threw at the Moltres, but also it's been chipped by those Sucker Punches just like you said, so now Zap Cannon is going to come very, very close to threatening to knock out.
And you're not really able to get a Trailblaze off right away as well. You need to start off with that debuff with the lunge, so with that, and look at all that damage. Yes, you're going to be able to get another lunge off here, but realistically, if Arroh wants to get out of this matchup, he can. You know, even Guzzlord doesn't have terrible playing the 2-shield matchup into that Malamar as well. But that said, that Shadow Marowak still has some opportunities to do some work here. We're actually seeing it being brought in, but you have to think to yourself as NiteTimeClasher, do I want to invest a shield when its primary target is probably on the field right now?
Yeah, I like the fact that he got out recognizing the misaligned switch timers, but actually Arrow's bringing in the Guzzlord so that he can maintain the alignment of Moltres onto Malamar. So this is a little bit of a better matchup for Marowak than it would have been otherwise, but actually lost charge attack priority against the Guzzlord here.
Yeah, a lot of trainers don't realize just how bulky that the Marowak is. It doesn't have a lot of attack stat. In fact, it loses to the other Mud Slappers, including Gastrodon, when it comes to charge attack priority. So yeah, this is a close one. It can be, I think, attack stat dependent, but that said, I think that you have 2 charge attacks stored. I don't think this is enough to quite knock out this Guzzlord either. There is still some play for this Shadow Kanto Marowak, but it needs to not only get through this current Guzzlord, it needs to get through Registeel and needs to get through the Galarian Moltres.
Yeah, I really just don't see a way for NiteTimeClasher to get rid of this Galarian Moltres. Doesn't even get off a charge attack with the Marowak. Now you have Malamar, and actually the Moltres probably is in superpower range. Oh, but he's actually just going to let go of the Brave Bird, maybe hoping it's an ancient power, but I think that's going to do quite a bit of damage, and that's probably going to seal NiteTimeClasher's fate.
A heartbreaker for NiteTimeClasher. You can see Arroh already celebrating. He knows where he's at. But for NiteTimeClasher, after punting that game number 4, unable to secure it in game number 5, and that means Arroh will be moving on yet again to the grand finals, where he will face off versus Lyle Jess III.